Cheers! Welcome to Movie Bitches, episode 175. Tonight we're reviewing Tonya. Tonya? Tonya.
I had a lot of questions about the name of this movie.
You know, I just really don't like the name of this movie, but I did like this movie.
Yeah, I did like this movie, but I want to talk about the name for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So at first I was like, Tonya, like I Frankenstein? Remember that terrible Aaron Eckhart movie? I don't think that's what it is. But also, what did that mean? I don't know what that meant.
Nope.
Is it like, Tonya, you Tarzan? What's going on?
I think it's like...
But then I figured it out.
Okay.
It's like a deposition. It's
yes.
like,
Tonya
Harding,
say...
do blah, 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 blah. It's still a bad title.
It is a bad title. I don't know why it wasn't just Tonya, exclamation point.
Tonya! Lowercase t, exclamation point.
Mother. So Tonya, starring Margot Robbie as Tonya Harding, and Allison motherfucking Janney.
Oh my god.
As the Queen of Cunt Island.
She was the cuntiest.
Oh my god, and she was so fabulous.
Which was conflicting, right?
Yes.
Because I was like, yes, but this is like actually...
upsetting.
Whoa.
But yes, more of Allison Janney. You're like, ooh.
I was like, that's how I felt through a lot of this movie, because, so basically this movie is like Goodfellas with ice skating. It's very stylized. It's very like, ever since I was born, all I'd ever want to be is an ice skater.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Great soundtrack.
Yep.
Fast-paced editing.
Yep.
Stylized. Hey, I'm here for it.
Sure.
But also why?
Oh, yes.
But sure.
And, okay, well, so
anyway.
First things first, first things first.
Oh.
Shout out to our wine sponsor, Wink.
Oh,
Trywink.com/moviebitches. You get $20 off your first month of wine. Great way to start off the new year. I saw Tonya at Toronto like 5 months ago.
Sure.
So I haven't seen it for a little while.
Right.
I might forget some things. I apologize.
That's fine.
But I do remember thinking, because the tone was fun, was interesting, was aggressive. It just starts having her just break the fourth wall 30 minutes into the movie.
There was a lot. It's recreated interviews. Mm-hmm. It's real-time action things happening.
Yep.
It's breaking the fourth wall. Like, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And yet, I felt like it, for like the most part, really rode the line well. And like, tone-wise and just storytelling.
Nothing was so egregious that I was fuck you, movie. This is bullshit. I'm out of here. You know, I don't know what's going on tonight.
There's a lot. The biggest problem I had with the movie was the real creepy face CGI on whichever poor ice skater had to wear a green screen sleeve over her head.
Yeah. So I'm
just imagining it, right? Because it was real up close and first person action of her ice skating. Or you're like right there with her. It feels like you're on the ice.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but also then there'd be like really awkward shots of like Margot Robbie's face like stuck on someone that's clearly not Margot Robbie ice skating.
I will say this, I thought for me part of the weakest part of the movie was also the ice skating scenes. And then at the very end, the credits are playing and they have actual footage of Tonya Harding skating. And I was like, fuck this movie. I'll just watch 2 hours of this shit. This is...
Give me the documentary Tonya. Now a documentary called Tonya, less bad. Less bad. Because it would be more like court casey. And like,
sure.
I would have preferred like wide shots. Look at this fucking fabulous ice skating. Cut to...
Sure.
You know, sure. Margot Robbie. I wouldn't have been mad at that because it in this way I was like, And then there was like real aggressive use of slow motion.
Yes.
And I was like, this is just pointing out that she's not doing this.
Right.
It's weird.
Or it's just
something.
It's also, I guess for me, it was so often pointing out that it wasn't Tonya Harding skating.
I mean, I wouldn't have put it past this movie to just show the ice skating like from the TV, and it's just Tonya Harding. I mean, it would have been weird, but this movie's weird, so maybe
I would have been okay with it, honestly.
Just be like, haha, look at that.
It's like, and here they are watching this TV, and here we are watching just Tonya Harding on a TV. Like, I'm fine with it.
Her life.
I'm fine with it.
Her wig. I was fascinated. And I loved it because I was like, this is terrible hair. Oh, but like her hair was terrible. So yeah, like they did it perfectly.
I thought the production design, everything was really good.
Oh, I was like, yes, they're recreating all of these 80s ice skating outfits.
The other thing that I really liked about this movie, that like it's a conversation piece.
It should be a conversation starter. It's a hard story to tell, right?
Yes.
Because in the halfway through, I thought there really isn't a lot of Nancy Kerrigan in this movie.
No, it's not about her. It's Tonya.
I got it, but like she's barely in the movie.
Sure.
You know, and of course you're waiting for the culminating moment. So I maybe would have liked a few more scenes with her and just other ice skaters.
Yes.
Not necessarily Nancy Kerrigan. But yes,
sure.
But like they mentioned in passing, Oksana Bayul, and I was like, yes,
That's
Oksana
Bayul.
I want to see her fabulous outfits. Like I was like, yes, Oksana.
She was busy filming The Mummy.
Oh, that's right. I know that the story was about like her being poor and grappling with trying to be in this world that's very rich, but I would have liked to see a few more scenes of that.
I would have been interested in seeing a little bit more of her and Nancy's friendship, which apparently they really did have.
It shows, at the beginning, like, all the different scenarios. Like, some people would swear that they saw Tonya beat the shit out of Nancy herself.
Well, and that's what so many people that I talk about this movie with are all like, I thought that she did it. Like, she took a pipe and, like, and it's like, well, no, that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I thought that's really cool, and I like that it's kind of vindicating or whatever for Tonya Harding, that it's like the narrative about her from this movie is shifting a little bit. Oh, maybe there's like some more shades of gray to this story.
Exactly.
And like it's a very complicated, kind of tragic story to tell.
Very tragic,
yeah.
I would say. Well, and I kept thinking the whole movie like, well, should your life be defined, should anyone's life be defined by one singular act or one moment,
Sure.
It puts you in an uncomfortable place.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I'm rooting for Tonya because she's this underdog, and then you're like, oh, don't fuck up your life, what are you doing? And then you're like, but she's gonna kind of be complicit in this thing, and it really just sort of takes you on this seesaw.
Yeah.
That it wrote the line. I enjoyed this movie.
I did too.
So I was reading about, basically she goes up to the judges and they're like, you're just not who we're looking for. You're not the kind of ice skater we're looking for. And she says,
suck my dick.
Suck my dick.
Love it.
And I was like, yes! But then I was reading about it, and apparently Tonya Harding went up to Margot Robbie and said, oh, I wish I had done that, kind of thing. Like, oh, that would have been great if I had done that. And I was like, that would have been great. So that's why this whole thing is like a fairy tale.
Yes.
And yet very serious.
Yes.
Right? Like, like at its core, it's like a very sad and tragic story about the cycle of abuse. And you're just like, ooh.
It's like equal parts tragedy, comedy, fantasy, and like redemption.
Which is why Goodfellas works for me and like Casino doesn't. Where Casino, I'm like, I want to slit my wrist.
Yeah.
Goodfellas, I'm like, this is a jolly good time. I mean, I know they're gangsters, and I'm well, but it's fun, I guess. So it's like that kind of movie where you're like, which is fun sometimes.
Yeah.
You want a movie to challenge you. Can we talk about Sebastian Stan?
Sure.
I want to talk about him for a while.
Okay, and then we have some more talking to do about the cast.
Oh, sure. There's things to talk about.
Yeah.
People that didn't need to be in the movie. Like, whatever. It's fine. We'll talk about it. So, Sebastian Stan. I thought he was fabulous.
Yeah.
I think that mustache is working for him. Rarely do I say that.
What's he from again?
Well, so he's the Winter Soldier.
Oh, right.
But what I know him from is this terrible Rennie Harlan movie called The Covenant that came out years ago that seems like a CW show that they turned into a movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like full of hot guys who are witches. Like it's straight up a CW television show that got edited into an hour and a half.
I feel like I should watch this.
You should. We should maybe review it. I don't know. But anyway, regardless, I saw this movie back whenever the fuck it came out.
Sure.
Years ago, and I was like, who's that guy? I like that guy. He's acting a lot, but no one else is acting in this movie. So I'm here for it. I was like, yeah, that guy, and I'm just excited that he's getting work.
I like him.
I think I'm telling you, that mustache was working, and it was.
That's a statement
It's
too.
a bad 80s mustache, and I was like, but yes. No, I thought he did a really good job because he is playing sort of this
dickbag
villain idiot.
Yeah.
And yet you're charmed by him.
What?
I mean, at a certain point, you're like, fuck you. But at the beginning, you're like, oh,
I guess at the beginning, you're like,
you're like,
sweet.
he's cute, and like, you know, she doesn't have much else going on.
Sure,
I mean, like,
sure.
You know, I mean, it was over pretty quick because he started hitting her pretty darn quick, and
Yeah.
you were like, yikesies.
I thought they did a really good job of that, where you can see why she went back to him. And you're like, no, don't do this. This is a horrible mistake. It's going to ruin your entire life. But, like, you know, she doesn't know that. They presented a lot of layers in everyone's backstory, I thought. It was really well done.
Except the friend. I didn't care for his characterization.
I felt like he was a little bit too much of a joke.
Well, it was weird. He was treated like a joke, idiot,
and
asshole.
Yet we're supposed to believe that he's the one who's responsible for this woman's entire life's career's
It got to
demise.
the point where they just dumped everything on him.
Yeah.
And they were like, you're a garbage person. Leave the movie. And I was like, I mean, I feel like you took so much care with everybody else that this is sort of upsetting. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And he was like, sort of that like typical fat, gross nerd like character. So I was just like,
well, I think that was my biggest frustration, was that the tone was inconsistent. It was not a problem.
I feel like its theme was inconsistencies. Like,
Well,
that's the point of the whole story, right?
Possibly.
This is her side of the story. This
Right.
is his side of the story.
Right.
These are the interviews. This is what could have happened. This is the fantasy about this. This is her looking
Sure.
into the camera. This is from
That's
his
fair.
side. So, like, I feel like that's the point, but it is a weird place to put it where you're like,
Oh, now this is happening. I don't know.
I feel like I'm teetering on an ice skate. You know, I don't know.
Sure.
But Allison Janney.
I was just about to say, I think we need to talk more about Allison Janney.
Can you not cuss in front of the kids? I wasn't cussing in front of the kids, you cunt.
Call that a clean skate, for Christ's sake?
Do not swear in front of the kids.
I didn't swear, you cunt.
In honor of Allison, we are wearing our fabulous Cunt Island shirts, which are available at MovieBitches.threadless.com.
They're fabulous.
They're fabulous. Thank you once again, Rick, because I really, like...
I'm obsessed.
I need to get the beach towel.
I had a question too. So at the beginning, Allison Janney, her interview starts, and she says, Tonya is the 5th kid from 4 husbands or something. She makes some joke about, Tonya was my 5th kid from my 4th dad or something
Whatever.
like that,
Sure.
right? Where were the other siblings? Aside from the creepy stepbrother that felt her up. Remember when she like punches him in the face? And she's like, I sent him to jail on our first date night.
Yeah, vaguely.
But anyway, that wasn't a biological brother. That was just a step sibling.
Okay.
So I was just curious about that. I felt like if you're not going to even kind of address the other children or have them be characters at all, why make that line?
Yeah, I don't know. That's
it wasn't worth it. Because the whole movie I was like,
so where are the other kids?
So where are these other kids though? Are they all adults? Because Tanya's like 4 when we first meet her.
Yeah.
So like.
So were they already 18? Is she 22 years from the youngest?
Right?
Yeah.
So anyway.
I don't know.
It bothered me.
I get that.
But, you know, what are you going to do?
I mean, the whole thing and like the dad leaving and all that was like heavy.
She's had a rough life. Like, I felt bad. I
Right.
was like, fuck, this is intense. And I mean, and there was a lot of things that she put into perspective that while, you know, maybe not totally PC or whatever, I was like, oh, like I see your side even if I am in a gray area in between it, where she's talking about when Nancy wins the silver. She gets 8th or something in the Olympics. Spoiler alert. It's history. She gets 8th or so after the incident. She gets 8th. Nancy still gets to participate.
Yeah.
Like her knee has healed enough. And she gets a silver medal. And she looks like she's smelling poop. That's what she says, right?
Right,
She looks
right.
so upset. Like, oh, great, I got a fucking silver medal. Like, that's Tanya's at least read on it, right?
Sure.
And she says something that stuck in my head where she says, you know, Nancy got beat up once. And everyone lost their fucking minds. And I got beat my entire life and nobody gave a shit. And while there's sides to both those stories and all of that stuff, I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah. It touches on a lot of modern themes, let's say. Topics of current conversation.
Sure.
So Allison Janney.
Right. And Allison Janney's wig and Allison Janney's parakeet.
The parakeet. Oh my gosh, she was just doing
Apparently she's not a bird person.
Oh.
And so that was sort of tough. She was like, I don't really like the birds, but like it was in the interview.
I love it. Give her the Oscar. She powered through her discomfort, Avaryl.
I mean, So apparently Allison Janney was like a figure skater in her youth for like a decade.
What?
Apparently she walked into a sliding glass door wrong and like cut a fucking huge artery and lost a bunch of blood and her leg was never the same and like crazy shit, and so she had to like it was like crazy. I was like, what? So I like that she obviously was interested in this for numerous reasons, but I was like, oh, that's really fascinating.
I love her so much.
Oh, she is just everything.
Right?
She was everything in this movie,
everything.
by the way.
I got out of this movie and I was just like, can we just talk about Allison Janney for like the next 12 years?
Margot Robbie was.
She was really fabulous.
Fucking great. Like,
she was really fabulous.
Her speech at the end.
Oh my god.
I lost my mind.
Yep. That's the Oscar clip.
That's the Oscar clip. She's been tried and the judging comes down that she has to pay all these crazy fines and do all these things, and that she has to never, she's kicked out of the ice skating league and she can never ice skate professionally again. And she gives this like heart-wrenching speech about like, ice skating is literally all I know how to do. I can't support myself. Like, just let me, I will take the jail time. Give me jail. Like, it was like, oh, it was so good.
So good.
That was like the best part of the movie. I think it's time that we talk about Bobby Cannavale.
I'm pretty sure I blocked him from my memory. I vaguely now, as you bring it up, I remember thinking, ugh, why is he here?
Well, so he plays the like hard copy press guy who's getting interviewed, who only exists in interviews. I thought this was unnecessary. I just thought either I needed more of him or a character like him, like a press, the press side of the story.
I just don't think he's a very good actor. I do appreciate his stance on Anna Garden, though.
It did drive me crazy, and this is just such a small thing, but like, she never closed her front door. So she was always like, because the press was hounding her and all these things, and then she would like run out and the camera would follow her, and so like she had to leave the door open because like the camera was following her, but then like she just left her front door open and there's like 50 reporters in her front yard. It bothered me. It happened at least 3 times, and I was like, girl. I did think too the whole time that like if Tonya Harding was skating now, with the way PR is now, she would be like America's sweetheart.
Absolutely.
Everyone would be like, oh, she's so real. Oh, she's so real.
Totally.
Oh, we love her. Oh, she's an underdog. She came from nothing. She's so real. She's breaking the boundaries of ice skating. And it's just, you know, everyone would be like, yes, bitch. And I was like, oh, that's a bummer.
It's a bummer. Wrong time.
I guess, you know, she did break barriers.
Maybe she led the way for other people to keep doing that.
So, yeah, I mean, all in all, I thought it was like an interesting biopic.
Yes.
Ish, right? Because I don't know how biographical it really, you know what I mean? Like, because it's so wacky and everything.
It's a biopic.
It's as much a biopic as Goodfellas is of Henry Hill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a sensationalized, stylized, account of things that happened.
Yes.
But I was excited that there was like a biopic about a woman.
Yeah.
It wasn't about a man who then inevitably got into drugs and like cheated on his wife.
And it certainly wasn't Igaluli.
Tore his life down. It wasn't Igaluli. I did think it was some fucking bullshit. So at the end, you know, they've told all their stories. You know, this is my side, this is her side. Galuli says, I never beat her up. And I'm like, okay. And then the text rolls up and it's basically like Jeff Galuli has a new wife and kids and he's like, fine.
It's like, fuck you.
And her life is ruined. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I was like, this is some fucking bullshit.
Yep.
But then they showed her skate, and I was like, yes, skate!
I know. I'd also be down for her to just be like a real housewife of somewhere, or some sort of like, you know, Dancing with the Stars. They should do Skating with the Stars.
They did.
Oh.
It was terrible.
Sure. Because it's hard.
Nancy, it's like actually really hard. Nancy Kerrigan was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, awkward.
So like they could do it.
Well, they could do it.
Like it's fine. So the director directed the Fright Night remake, which I don't know if you saw, but it was good for a remake.
Okay.
And he did Lars and the Real Girl.
Oh, I really loved Lars and the Real Girl.
Which had a really impossible tone and story.
Yeah.
And yet I was fully invested.
I was like, I did not watch that movie for so long.
You were like, oh, it's that weird sex doll movie.
Yeah, and it was like so good.
It's so fucking good. And I was like, I love this movie. Yeah. So I was like, oh, he gets tone.
Yeah.
Like he understands genre and things. And so I was excited about that. And the writer had a lot of credits that I was shocked by.
Okay.
So he wrote Hope Floats.
Oh.
He wrote Stepmom.
Oh, wow.
Remember that Susan
The
Sarandon?
amazing Susan Sarandon and Julia Roberts, where you cry every single fucking time you watch that movie? Yes.
And Why Ain't No Mountain High Enough is on all of our iPads.
Oh.
iPods. Phones? Playlists. Spotify playlists.
You're hip.
I got my finger on the pulse. And he wrote P.S. I Love You. Remember that Hilary Swank rom-com?
Yeah.
That I really liked.
Did you?
Did you see it?
And maybe not.
I was
What was it about?
Her husband is Gerard Butler.
Okay.
And he dies. But he has some disease. And
Yes.
so he
writes her
sends
letters that she has to follow.
And she goes on like a scavenger hunt to
Yes.
like re-find herself.
Through like Chicago or something.
And then they go to Scotland.
Yes.
And
it was sweet.
It was really good. Like I went into
And he has the accent though the whole time.
Great. And then she like fucks Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and you're like, this is great. And like Gina Gershon is her like friend. It's great, guys. He wrote fucking Kate and Leopold. Yikes. Big yikes.
Yikes.
And he wrote Love the Coopers.
Oh no, that horrible Christmas movie?
I was like, this is all over the place.
Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah. No, I thought this was a really good movie.
Yeah. I liked this movie a lot.
Yeah,
I would say definitely go see it.
Great performances. I would say go see it.
Yeah. So, cheers.
And ice.
Oh, ice skating. I am so excited for the Olympics.
Oh my god, ice skating.
I can't believe they're so soon. I'm
excited.
I love the Olympics. And ice skating.
I love mostly ice skating.
Cheers to ice skating.
Oh man.
Just terrific. Just